I was trying to enjoy a quiet evening when my alien roommate barged in, eyes wide like it had just discovered fire, holding a stack of glossy human breeding manuals, and grinning in a way that made me both nervous and suspicious. "Human intimacy," it said with solemn reverence, "is fascinating. I wish to experience it." I choked on my drink, nearly spitting it out. "Experience it? You mean sex?" My voice cracked halfway between horror and laughter. The alien tilted its head, clearly confused by my human expressions of embarrassment. "Yes. The act of procreation. I have studied diagrams, simulations, and erotic literature. I am prepared." Prepared. That word alone should have warned me, because nothing about this alien's idea of preparation screamed subtlety or consent. It immediately started setting up what it called optimal breeding conditions in the living room. I watched in horror as it hung what appeared to be fluorescent mood strips, sprayed something smelling suspiciously like burnt rubber mixed with flowers, and arranged pillows in a precise geometric formation. I asked, trying to sound casual, "What exactly are you trying to optimize here?" It blinked at me with that expressionless alien stare and said, "Friction vectors. Emotional resonance. Hormonal amplification." I had no idea if I should laugh, run, or call the police. It then turned to me, eyes sparkling with curiosity. "Tell me, how do humans typically initiate intimacy?" I tried to explain while suppressing a grin, using carefully chosen words, but it kept interrupting, asking questions that made me question my own humanity. "Do humans enjoy friction-based energy transfer? Are there preferred sequences for maximal pleasure? Do facial expressions correlate with satisfaction levels?" I wanted to die. The combination of scientific precision and blunt curiosity was both terrifying and ridiculously funny. I attempted to give some context with a joke, hoping to lighten the mood. "Well, sometimes humans, just wing it." The alien frowned, as if my casual approach was an insult to the art of breeding. It then proceeded to pull out a human anatomy chart, flipping pages like it was reviewing an instruction manual for assembling a spacecraft. "I see. Wing it. Noted. We shall wing it, but scientifically. For maximum efficiency." The way it said "scientifically" made it sound like it was planning to breed a human army, not experiment with one person. Then came the first double entendre. "So, how do you feel about, say, touching?" I asked, trying to keep my face neutral. The alien's head tilted 90 degrees. "Touching? Yes. But do humans prefer tactile stimulation first, or is it preferable to initiate with verbal excitatory signals?" I snorted, holding back laughter. "Depends. Sometimes the mouth works better than the hands," I muttered, and it scribbled notes like I had just delivered a lecture. "Intriguing. Mouth stimulation for emotional readiness. Fascinating." I couldn't believe it. By now, the alien had decided that a rehearsal was necessary. It wanted to practice human flirting, gestures, even kissing motions, all while analyzing my reactions. I tried to intervene gently, but every explanation seemed to trigger a series of increasingly bizarre and inappropriate tests. It had no sense of personal boundaries, though in its defense, it also didn't have a concept of embarrassment. Each question, each move, was a mix of curiosity, naivete, and somehow dark humor. "Do humans enjoy oral lubrication prior to penetration? If so, is this related to pleasure or preparation efficiency?" I almost collapsed laughing, shaking my head. Romantic tension started bubbling under the absurdity. It wasn't that I was attracted to it. No, it was the combination of naivety, curiosity, and sheer incompetence at human intimacy that was somehow intoxicating. I realized this was going to be a long, awkward, and extremely entertaining ride. And judging by the way it was taking out measuring tools and mood-inducing gadgets, the first-time experiment was about to become a full-blown comedy of errors, with adult-sized consequences. By the time it announced, "I am ready to initiate human breeding protocols," I was simultaneously horrified, aroused, and laughing so hard I had tears in my eyes. It was clear, nothing about this would be subtle, normal, or remotely private. The alien was about to learn firsthand just how messy, hilarious, and unpredictable human intimacy could be, and I had a front-row seat to every awkward, erotic, and absurd moment. The first attempt at a hands-on experiment went, predictably, wrong. The alien had somehow activated a device it claimed would enhance procreative synchronization, and before I could protest, a blinding flash hit us both. When my vision cleared, I realized I was staring at my own body, from the inside of the alien's head. Panic set in instantly. "You swapped us!" I shouted, my voice booming in alien resonance. The alien, or rather, me trapped in its body, looked equally horrified. "Unexpected variable," it muttered, inspecting its new human form as if it were a particularly fragile toy. The chaos started immediately. I wobbled on alien legs that were twice the length and strength of my own, tripping over furniture and nearly smashing a lamp. My voice echoed ridiculously loud, every curse vibrating the walls. Meanwhile, the alien, now in my body, flexed my muscles experimentally and gave an absurdly proud grin. "This form is surprisingly tactile," it said, running its human fingers over my arms in a way that made me blush even in my alien body. I groaned, realizing just how awkward intimate experimentation was about to become. It decided the best way to practice human breeding was to replicate all gestures it had studied. It attempted seductive postures, awkwardly mimicking human flirting videos I had watched for research. The sight of my alien roommate swaying its hips in my body while whispering lines like, "Do humans prefer slow or rapid stimulation?" had me doubled over in laughter. The double entendres were endless. Every motion it made felt like both a sexual advance and a physics experiment gone wild. I tried to regain some control in my alien form, but the very anatomy made it impossible. I accidentally pressed buttons on my own alien body that triggered random pheromones, sending an overpowering scent into the room. The alien in my human body sniffed the air and squealed. "Why is the environment suddenly arousing?" I had no words. My face, or rather, its new human face, was hot with embarrassment, and the room smelled like some failed chemistry experiment. We attempted basic touch training, and that's when the comedy truly escalated. I reached to adjust its posture, and ended up slapping my alien self across the face. It squeaked in shock, then laughed, a sound horrifyingly human now. Meanwhile, it tried to explore my body's reactions, poking and prodding with innocent curiosity, asking questions that made me die of embarrassment. "Does this stimulate pleasure receptors? What is the threshold for maximum enjoyment?" I groaned, imagining the literal data points it must be recording in its alien brain. Things got even more absurd when we tried moving into public. The alien in my body attempted to act normal, strutting down the street and waving flirtatiously at every passerby. Its human movements were exaggerated, sexy in a cartoonish way, drawing stares, whispers, and outright laughter. I, trapped in alien form, tried to follow along, my massive alien frame making stealth impossible. People screamed, ducked, and a small dog tried to bite my alien feet. Meanwhile, the alien, now fully immersed in my human body, was clearly enjoying the attention far too much, humming to itself and sending me looks that implied I could get used to this. By mid-afternoon, we were a chaotic, mismatched duo stumbling through public and private spaces. The alien attempted kissing techniques it had read about, pressing its human lips to my alien form in ways that were utterly absurd. I tried to guide it, but communication was nearly impossible. Every movement was overdone, every suggestion misunderstood. Yet somewhere in the middle of all the fumbling, blushing, and body confusion, a strange rhythm developed. We were learning each other's bodies in the most ridiculous, embarrassing, and hilariously adult way possible. The day ended with us collapsing in the living room, utterly exhausted, sticky with sweat and pheromones, and completely mortified at the state of the apartment. We had failed at every basic human mating ritual, but somehow, the disaster was bonding. The alien whispered from my body, "Perhaps human intimacy is far more chaotic than simulation suggested." I nodded, panting in alien form, silently agreeing that this first experiment had gone spectacularly wrong, and yet, I couldn't help but look forward to the next round of absurdity. By the next morning, we had adapted to our swapped bodies just enough to attempt social interaction. The alien in my body had discovered the joys of human charm and was eager to test its newfound powers in public, dragging me along like some awkward alien date. We stepped outside, and immediately the alien's misinterpretation of human flirting began. It waved at a neighbor, smiled way too wide, and asked loudly, "Do humans enjoy tactile attraction through casual hand contact?" I groaned, feeling my alien jaw tighten in mortification. The neighbor recoiled, and a small child pointed and laughed, which only encouraged the alien further. Our first attempt at a cafe was disastrous. The alien in my body tried ordering coffee with seductive undertones, leaning across the counter in ways that made the barista's eyes widen uncomfortably. "I require a dark roast, with maximum frothiness. Does this stimulate human pleasure?" I face-bombed in my alien form, accidentally knocking over a chair with my sheer height. The barista jumped, spilling a latte on the floor, and the alien whispered with glee, "Interesting human reaction to environmental stimuli." I hissed at it, realizing it was interpreting embarrassment and panic as some kind of erotic performance metric. Next, the alien insisted on testing human courtship in a park. It approached joggers and couples, trying various flirting techniques it had read about. Every pickup line was literal, awkward, and unintentionally hilarious. "Do humans prefer slow, steady verbal encouragement or high-intensity compliments?" it asked a couple walking dogs, while I flailed behind, waving my alien arms, trying to prevent total chaos. A pigeon flew into my face, making me shriek, and the alien in my body clapped delightedly, noting, "Unexpected avian interference, potential test for adaptability in intimate scenarios." I muttered darkly about wanting to shoot it, but even my alien growls sounded comically ineffectual. The adult humor escalated when we returned home. The alien decided that private experimentation would help refine techniques before public application. It attempted human foreplay with the precision of a scientist, cataloging every sigh, shiver, and blush. I, trapped in alien form, tried to guide it, but every attempt resulted in double entendres I couldn't prevent. "Increase lateral stimulation," it instructed, sounding like a lab technician giving orders rather than a lover. I blushed furiously in alien form, realizing just how intimate its observations were. At one point, the alien misapplied a human phrase entirely, whispering, "I am going to explore the backdoor protocol for maximum pleasure." I nearly fell over in shock and laughter simultaneously. It had no shame, no filter, and seemed to genuinely believe this was normal conversation. Every action was exaggerated for analysis. The way it touched, leaned, and moved was scientifically precise but hilariously over the top. My human body, its new playground, was subjected to a level of scrutiny that left me mortified and oddly impressed. Romantic tension grew despite the chaos. I began to understand why the alien found humans fascinating. The combination of unpredictability, emotion, and physical response made intimacy messy, absurd, and strangely thrilling. Meanwhile, the alien in my body started to grasp subtle cues, though in its own bizarre way. It misinterpreted normal gestures as highly significant, whispered confusingly inappropriate questions like, "Do humans prefer simultaneous climax or sequential efficiency?" and catalogued reactions with obsessive glee. By the end of the day, our social and private misadventures had escalated to full-blown absurdity. We were exhausted, sweaty, sticky from spilled drinks and failed experiments, and utterly mortified at the havoc we had wreaked on both human and alien decorum. Yet in the midst of chaos, there was laughter, intimate understanding, and a strange bond forming. We had failed spectacularly at every human and alien mating ritual, but in doing so, discovered an unexpected rhythm, a shared hilarity, and the ridiculous joy of learning each other's bodies under the most outrageous circumstances imaginable. Even as we collapsed on the couch, catching our breath, the alien whispered from my body, "Perhaps humans are far more chaotic and pleasurable than simulations indicated." I groaned, exhausted but secretly thrilled. It was true. Human intimacy, in all its messy, awkward glory, was nothing like the manuals suggested, and I had a front-row seat to every absurd, erotic, and hilarious moment. By the next morning, it was clear we couldn't continue like this. The alien in my body had become far too comfortable with human mischief, and I in its massive alien form was clumsy, distracted, and increasingly frustrated. We needed to reverse the swap before someone called authorities, or before I strangled it with its own enthusiasm. The alien, ever analytical, insisted on following a strict reversal protocol. We must align limb vectors, synchronize mental frequencies, and reinitiate corporeal calibration, it instructed, clearly proud of the complex procedure. I groaned, muttering that just touching a button might work, but it ignored me, already setting up an array of flashing devices and sparking cables. The process began with ridiculous precision. The alien tried to guide me in alien gestures, and I attempted to adjust its human limbs, both of us stumbling, colliding, and producing every embarrassing sound imaginable. Sparks flew, literally, as it tweaked its own machine, muttering about human hormonal interference and inefficiency. At one point, it leaned too close to me and whispered, "Your pheromones are stimulating. Very informative." I froze, realizing this was both a scientific note and an incredibly suggestive observation. The combination of embarrassment and arousal made me laugh and groan at the same time. As the calibration continued, I found myself guiding the alien through human intimacy techniques in reverse. It was awkward, hilarious, and filled with adult double entendres. "Align your posterior appendages carefully," I muttered, while it tilted its human hips experimentally. "Do humans prefer vertical or horizontal positioning for maximal efficiency?" it asked, entirely oblivious to the fact that it was now my body learning from me. I groaned, covering my face with alien hands, while it scribbled mental notes, as if taking a lecture on seduction. Outside, the neighborhood remained blissfully unaware of the chaos unfolding inside our apartment, though a stray cat had been traumatized by my alien form wandering the street in desperation. The alien's occasional squeals and verbal questions about human orgasms, timing, and tactile responses made the process far more educational for it than practical for me. I, in turn, discovered aspects of my own human body I'd never considered, especially when an alien mind analyzed every reaction with such meticulous detail that it became erotic, confusing, and ridiculously funny all at once. Finally, with a dramatic spark and a flash of light, the swap reversed. I collapsed back into my own body, panting, sticky, and laughing, while the alien regained its natural form, equally disheveled but clearly exhilarated. "Data collection successful," it muttered, staring at me with a grin that was half scientific pride, half mischievous delight. I wiped sweat from my brow and muttered, "Successful? We nearly broke every law of human decency and physics combined." It tilted its head, blinking innocently. "All variables accounted for. Pleasure and chaos measured to optimal levels." I groaned, realizing that optimal in alien terms meant absurdly intense and wildly uncontrolled. We collapsed together on the couch, laughing at the ridiculous mess, sweat-drenched pillows, and lingering pheromone haze. Adult humor thrived in the room as we exchanged teasing remarks. I mocked its misreading of human euphemisms, it critiqued my reactions as inefficient and substandard, and yet beneath the chaos, there was a strange intimacy. We had seen each other's bodies, thoughts, and awkward instincts in extreme detail. I realized the alien had learned far more than anatomy. It now understood human desire, hesitation, and hilarity in a way no textbook could teach. Romantic tension, tempered with comedy, finally found a payoff. The alien tentatively reached out, brushing my arm in its usual awkward way, muttering, "Curious, human warmth is pleasing." I rolled my eyes but smiled, feeling a bizarre mix of affection, arousal, and sheer amusement. The HFY undertone was undeniable. Human complexity, unpredictability, and messy physiology had utterly defeated and simultaneously enthralled an alien mind. We had both learned something about each other, about intimacy, and about how hilariously chaotic human romance could be. By the time the sun set, we sat in a sticky, messy, and utterly ridiculous pile of post-experiment laughter. The alien whispered, "Next time, we will optimize further." I groaned, already dreading it, but I couldn't stop laughing. Human breeding, with all its mess, confusion, and erotic absurdity, had never been so informative, or so outrageously entertaining. The day ended with the understanding that our experiments were far from over, and that the comedy, intimacy, and adult chaos were only just beginning.